Okay, here we go. The Penn and Mikey Show.
He's about to get crazy and wild. Stay for a while. Don't touch your radio dial.
Penn and Mikey Show.
Kicking it back, sports talk. Listen to that and stay tuned for some giggles and laughs. Go.
Years ago, when me and Opie were at WAAF, Opie wakes up and goes, "Hey, I got a good April Fool's gag. Let's say that Mayor Menino is dead." So we get back on the air. When we get on the air, Opie says it. He goes, "Oh, we're getting some news reports here that Mayor Menino has been killed in a car crash."
It was an April Fool's hoax by 2 radio disc jockeys.
Welcome to the Planet Mikey Show.
And then the entire town of Boston, city of Boston, went nuts.
I know, they turned on them.
And Opie and Anthony got shit canned, right?
Yeah, well, then they got hired by the guy that fired them.
They got hired at WNEW.
NEW, yeah.
And that's where I worked with them. And they said, "And you are?" Now, for those of you that don't know, it's April 1st, and people were texting me, calling me, writing emails to me, Facebooking me, tweeting, Xing me.
Sending you letters.
Tell us it's not the final podcast, because I did that thing where it was our final podcast.
And we all believed you.
That's right.
I felt for
That's
it.
right. Ben even went out and bought some new clothes. Look at that nice shirt he's
I didn't
wearing.
even show up for work that day.
Did you pass a homeless guy on the way in today, Ben?
Yeah.
Bill Smith, Ben Kitchen, Mikey Adams here, and we have our April Fool's Day, April 1st podcast. We got a whole bunch of fun stuff that we're going to do today. But first and foremost, I would like to take a moment to introduce a quick guest here who's going to join us, and she's special for so many reasons, but let me explain that, okay? First of all, her name is Jess Fidrych, and she's the daughter of Mark the Bird Fidrych, one of the most beloved players in the history of the game. And, of course, we'll talk about him. But Jess not only helps to organize the Mark Fidrych Foundation, which we're going to ask her about here in a moment. But also, I'm driving down the street, Route 20, I believe it was, in Northborough, and on the right-hand side, I see Chet's Diner. I go, "Chet's Diner." I said, "That's the Fidrych place." I pull in, I walk in, and Jess was there, and she says, "Well, we're closing at 1 o'clock. It was like 5 of 1. And I said, "Well, no, I'm here to talk about..." And she, of course, bang, boom, there you go. Now we got something to talk about. And Jess joins us now via the high-tech device known as the telephone. Hi, Jess.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you? You must have thought, who's this freak coming in my front door of the diner when we're about to close? And look at this guy. And, of course, turns out we have some common friends. How's things going over there?
Things are going great. It's a beautiful day.
It sure is. It's one of the nicer days we've had in the past few. Now,
It's sunny. Thank goodness.
You were born after Mark finished playing baseball, correct?
Yes, I was born in 87.
So you're just a young girl.
That wasn't creepy at all.
No, but she looks very young and lovely. But so you didn't see any of the stuff that is your dad's legacy from a baseball perspective because you hadn't arrived yet.
No, I just got to experience the aftermath. He took me everywhere. Being an only child, I was wicked lucky just to be able to go wherever he went, and it was really cool.
Well, just as we got 3 hardcore baseball fans here, but we won't bore you with all the details of that. What I will tell you is that when he came onto the scene in 1976, what was he, 21, I believe, 22 maybe, something, in 76, he just exploded onto the baseball scene. And everybody was like freaking out. And the Detroit Tiger fans, of course, they had never had any sellouts in that ballpark for years. All of a sudden, when the Bird takes the mound, the place is packed. You're aware of that legacy, right?
I am. We got to go to the All-Star game when Detroit, it was wild. And he took me all through Detroit. And it was the craziest, loudest experience that I've ever experienced with him. It was so awesome.
Well, he was so different. To say he was idiosyncratic is to put it mildly. On the mound, especially, you'd watch him, and he had this overwhelming enthusiasm. He also had some habits that were pretty strange by big league standards, by getting down on his hands and knees with his hands and manicuring the mound to get it ready exactly the way he liked it. That's people loved that.
Yep. He did. There is a few guys. It's I would say OCD, but it is methodical. And what did it do? It made him focus.
Yeah, well, right, he was very
It
meticulous.
tuned him right in.
Yeah, he's meticulous about the landing area on the mound too. 'Cause a lot of pitchers, people can get hurt on that mound if they don't take care of it. But usually they do it with their spikes and not with their hands. That's what made him different. The other thing too, Jess, as you know, and this is all part of the legacy, is he was accused of talking to the ball. And later, when he was interviewed, he said, "No, I was talking to myself. I was kind of discussing what I wanted to do with the ball." But people thought he's telling the ball where to go. That's just nutty.
Oh, yeah. He did that all the time. It was a normal daily thing. It was.
His rookie of the year in 1976. He led the major leagues in WAR. You know, and these days that WAR stat, wins against
wins above replacement.
Wins above replacement is a stat that everybody looks at. He led the majors that year, his rookie year, and won the rookie of the year. I got to tell you a quick story too. The Bird played in a lot of charity events. When I was a member of the television media, I played in a bunch of them as well. And we had this basketball game for charity. I think it was for Breast Cancer Fund. And he was there, and I was playing against his team. It was the media against the former athletes, right? So as you can imagine, they were killing us.
Yeah, how'd that go?
They were crushing us. It was, Steve Grogan and Doug Flutie and all these guys. They were good athletes, and we're all getting our hammered. So now Mark's got the ball, and he's dribbling the ball, and I'm playing defense against him, and he got around me or something like that for a loose ball. I don't know. And I grabbed his leg, and I half tackled him, right? So he's laughing. He thinks it's funny. He's down on the court. And down at the other end now, I got Flutie guarding me, and Flutie says, "I saw you grab the Bird's leg." Like accusing me. I said, "Yes, so?" And then Flutie dribbles around me and scores easily. But the one thing I learned about the Bird during that game is he was a really good-natured, happy guy who had energy for life, all this really fun stuff. Is that the dad you knew?
That is absolutely the dad I knew. Absolutely. And I actually remember that. You guys going to that because he got to meet Doug Flutie for the first time and he was all excited.
Well, Doug was protecting him.
At that event, he came home so excited. He's like, "You're not going to believe who I met."
Right.
Yep. He was all excited.
Well, I did another event with him later on. He was just fun to be around, and everybody talked about it that way. And Bill Lee, the spaceman, who I know you spent some time with, the Red Sox era for your dad, he said nothing but wonderful things about Mark the Bird Fidrych. And I guess you knew Bill's daughter Anna, right?
Yeah, I knew. We used to go on vacation together because they used to do a game in Florida years ago when we were little, when her and I were little. So we all used to go. It was a really good time.
That's cool.
In Sarasota.
So now you got a lot going on in the having a very famous, and it is a landmark, famous diner. I mean, let's face reality here. I wasn't from Northborough, so I discovered Chet's as I'm driving, an Uber car.
Yeah.
But everybody knows that place because it's been around so long and has such a great reputation. But tell us about the Mark Fidrych Foundation, if you would, and how people can get involved.
So just like you said, my father always participated in charity events and always, we truly actually loved it after, we retired from baseball. And that was something he cherished. And we wanted to continue that and make that part of his legacy. And we have since he's died, and it's been wonderful. We're supporting athletes with special needs. And it's really taken off, all different groups of Challenger Leagues, the Miracle League, the Thrive Group, the Special Olympics, Best Buddies, all through New England. And, this year we added water skiing at Webster Lake, skiing at Wachusett for Best Buddies. And it's ensuring that every kid has the same ability to do anything they really want to do. Mm-hmm. And they're not going to be restricted because, there isn't equipment for somebody that needs certain equipment or somebody that needs an aide or a buddy to, help them out.
Sure.
And that's what we're doing. And it's a really awesome thing. And I know he as a person. He'd been doing this forever. I couldn't tell you how many Special Olympics events he brought me to.
Right.
Growing up, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
Wow.
It was something he really loved to do, and he loved kids.
Right.
And he always wanted to make sure. We went to Fenway to do Make-A-Wish. We went to Michigan. We went to all these different places. He brought me just to make somebody smile that, may not always smile every day because they're going through certain situations.
Well, he had a big heart. He had
challenging.
He had a big heart. Everybody knew that. And he was an Algonquin for Northborough and Worcester guy. So you have some affiliation and some fundraising abilities with the Red Sox, I understand. But
we did the Red Sox. I hope to do it again this year. We'll see.
So how can
it was
people?
A really good experience.
How can folks help out the Mark Fidrych Foundation with contributions? Is there a way that they can get?
You can go right online and you can put in the Mark Fidrych Foundation, and it'll pop right up, markfidrichfoundation.org, and you'll check us out. You can see what we've done. We have a Facebook page. We have the Instagram. Mm-hmm. It's an awesome thing, and we're really just getting out and to get these kids to be able to play and do all this awesome stuff. I mean, a prom. The kids through Thrive got to have a prom and, got to experience what it's like just to be and have fun. It's a really cool thing.
Well, I don't get invited to any proms anymore, Jess. I think I'm a little
My mom goes every year. She loves it.
I'll tell you, the other thing is when I used to go to proms, for some reason, the girl would always leave early. I couldn't find them at the end of the night. Where they went, I don't know. Well, I got to tell you that it was a joy to meet you. It was a joy to know your dad, and I can't wait to have my first eggs over easy because I'm a breakfast guy. I can eat breakfast any time of day, but you guys close what 1 o'clock every day over there?
We close at 11. I call it Mother's Hours. So I'm 5:30 in the morning to 11 Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
And I'm on the grill.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to come by before 11 then, and have some breakfast. And the best of luck to you and the Mark Fidrych Foundation. And thanks for joining the podcast today.
I appreciate you guys. Have fun.
Bye, Jess. Jess Fidrych,
all
everybody.
Right,
she's nice.
Yep,
very nice person. Very nice. I know. I said, wait a minute. I said, isn't this Mark the Bird Fidrich's family died? She goes, I'm his daughter. I'm like, whoa, bingo, But anyway, the bird, as we are opening day mode here, we're going to talk to Bill Lee, too, because the Red Sox are going through some crap, huh, Ben?
Yeah, you've been celebrating the start of the season?
It's been so brutal, and I got all kinds of questions for...
It's interesting. Like a couple of weeks ago on a radio show, I was talking about Devers, and she's like, you know what? I think you got to figure out a way to trade him. Explore that trade. Maybe it's halfway through the season. Maybe it's after the season. But that's not the guy that's not a centerpiece guy. That's not what he is.
Well,
and
yeah,
if
limited skills.
You compare. Everyone talks about, he's one of the best third basemen in the game. Yeah, offensively, he is one of the best third basemen in the game.
Yeah, top 4.
But he clearly doesn't have a good understanding of the history of that position. Only a handful of guys at third base.
Or English.
Only a handful of guys at third base are still good after their 30s.
The wireless
What was
customer
that?
you are calling.
You got the wrong one there, Smitty. You got to call the home phone.
But it was like Schmidt.
Yeah.
Schmidt was still great well after 30.
Sure.
George Brett was still good, but then he ultimately moved to first base. A lot of these guys that had a really good run in their 20s were terrible
Fielders.
in their 30s.
Terrible.
No, offensively.
Well, yeah,
All
they
their
slowed
power
down
was
offensively, but he's never been a good defensive third baseman.
No.
We'll find out what Bill thinks. I think he's probably home.
Hello.
There he is. Hey, Spaceman,
Hey.
it's Mikey and of course Bill Smith and Ben Kitchen here. How you doing?
I'm good. I just hit my first 5-wood of the year after the snow stopped, and I hit it low, didn't get it up, hit it about 210 right down Broadway, hole 01.
And what did the neighbors think of that?
Well, I got to go down and get it, find out where it ended up.
Hey, Spaceman, first of all, happy 50th anniversary to you and all the members of the 75 Red Sox. That's big stuff.
Wow, yeah, it's tough. Miller's not breathing well.
Really? Rick Miller?
Willow's blind. You know, Carbo's dumb and I'm deaf.
Well, Carbo got smarter as he went along.
I know, it's funny. We used to be the Buffalo Head Gang. Now we're three blind mice.
You know, I got to tell you this, Carbo. When I got down to Fort Myers, not Fort Myers. We were in Winter Haven, and first thing Carbo says, he goes, "You want to hear a good joke?" You know, Carbo, he's Mr. Jokester. He goes, "Did you hear that?" Buckwheat. He goes, "Do you remember Buckwheat from the Little Rascals?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Did you hear that Buckwheat went Muslim?" I said, "No. What, really?" He goes, "Yeah. Now they call him Karima Wheat."
And I don't. Carbo wasn't that good to figure that joke out. Trust me.
I'm sure he heard it more than once. He was,
I
but
know it's funny. Gosh darn, yeah, we're all going to get together. Willow's stuck in Tulsa. You know, he's got that eyesight problem where he can't see down the middle, but he can see
Willoughby?
peripherally.
Yeah,
Willoughby's got that, and Wise, I don't know who's going to show up. You know,
yeah,
God darn, Yastrzemski ain't going to show up. I don't think.
Well, you got a big celebration though. They're going to have they're going to try to get everybody together. Let me ask you about some of these guys. See, what's Reggie Cleveland doing?
Reggie was selling cars up in where the hell in Saskatchewan, last I heard. But he looked good. I did a car show with him down there on Route 1 about 2 years ago. Wise was there. He was pretty good, too. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm driving down. You know, I drove the other day. I left here in a snowstorm and drove to Cooperstown, played an 1881 vintage game, gave a speech, and drove home in 25 hours. I was boom, boom. And I threw pretty well, and I was pretty healthy. And I got out of this damn snow we had up here. We got hammered up here.
Yeah. Now, I got to ask you, too. Was Dick Pole as popular with the women as you might think?
Well, he was in Barquisimeto, Venezuela. I remember that. I remember there was this girl screaming over down there in the hotel room. We were in this motel called the Hotel Obelisco. We had rooms around a pool and a bar. It stayed open till 4 a.m. because the bartender went home, and we just kept drinking and putting down tabs, stuff like that. And I said, Dick, what happened? He says, "I thought she was a radio, and I kept trying to get another station."
That's either real.
I remember that from 1972. Go figure.
Now, Rooster Burleson, what's up with him, man?
Who?
Rooster.
Which one?
The Rooster, Rick Burleson.
Oh, the Rooster? Who cares? Fuck, I hate middle infielders.
You
know, they're all cheap shot, throw the first punch. You know, I remember he beat up a guy in an elevator in Minnesota, just like Billy Martin did. And the poor guy, he kept hitting him. I had to pull him off him so the guy could hit the ground.
Okay. You described Rick Burleson as a red ass. Is that?
They're all red asses. You know, I was over in China, and the shortstop over there, I said, "What's the word for shortstop in China?" And they went, "Gorilla."
That's awful. All right, a couple other guys. Bernie Carbo. Bernie found religion, right?
Oh, he's in great shape. Think of this. This is the most amazing thing. We were talking about that. Of all the people you thought would not be with us in that organization, they would have said Bill Lee and Bernie Carbo, and we're the two healthiest guys.
That's it. You're doing something right, pal.
I'm telling you, Bernie looks good. He gets younger every year. You know, he doesn't get any brighter, but he gets younger.
Well, you know, might have something to do with the herbal enhancements that you guys went through in the Buffalo Head Gang. You know, you and Fergie and Rick.
That does not hurt you. Look at you.
Yeah, look at me.
You're a steel trap.
I am. The mind still works when I'm awake. Let me see. Rick Miller, you mentioned Rick. He's a great guy. Remember that time in Maine we all went out, you, me, and my wife, and Rick went out after that golf tournament and had about 15 beers?
Yes.
Walking around,
right.
Was it Bar Harbor or somewhere? Where was it?
Booth Bay Harbor.
Booth Bay Harbor, right.
It was the best. That was the best golf. We had Otto Graham at that golf tournament. We had Gary Upremian, Otis Sistrom,
Earl
Ed
Morrow.
Hendrick, Ben Davidson. It was the greatest charity events for all those years. We played at the country club, that nice golf course. It was just a really nice time, and now they play cornhole.
Not the kind they play in prison.
Not the kind they play in Texas, no.
Now, I got to ask you about, because you're a student of the game. If anybody's a student of the game, it's Bill Lee, the spaceman. The Red Sox are off to a 1-4 start, and I got to ask you about Rafael Devers, because he is 0 for his last 19. He's got no hits. I think he's had a couple of walks, but he's 0 for 19 to start the season. Have you ever seen anybody start a season that badly?
No, he's a poster child for getting fat at the wrong time. And, I mean, we got rid of all the B's, bets. We got rid of them and we keep the D's. And a B is always better than a D.
Yeah, well,
and
sure.
And I'll tell you something. He is terrible. I said, why don't you bunt the ball down the third baseline and run your fat ass off and get back in shape? That's what I saw of him. And that first time he struck out on that breaking ball in the dirt was the ugliest slow motion of swing. Awful. It's almost like the bat came up and hit him in the teeth.
Awful.
It was ugly. It was just something I'd never seen him do before. And I go, what the hell was that all about?
And the 0 for 19 is bad enough, but 15 strikeouts.
Yeah. And I remember the announcer said, don't worry, he'll be back. And I went, no, he won't. No, he won't. Wow. That kid is done. He is. I remember George Scott in batting practice against Harvey Haddix. Harvey Haddix had to be 58 years old. And Harvey goes, George, I can throw 10 fastballs by you up and in, and you can't touch one of them. And he goes, bullshit. Harvey threw 9 in a row, and the 10th one he fouled off. And he goes, see, I told you couldn't do it.
Oh, God. The Boomer.
Boomer, and I'm telling you, Boomer was gone after that, too. When you start putting a Hodgson on and you start sweating trying to get your weight down and everything else, you're done.
Yeah, right. Well, they used to make sure that he wasn't the first guy at the buffet table down at the camp because then there was nothing left for anybody else. So it's not just him, though, Spaceman. It's the other guys, too, that are supposed to be hitting. Casas, 1 for 17.
Boy, he's terrible, too. I had him gone a year ago. Guy's got no bullets on his gun. He's late on the high fastball, won't lay off of it.
Yeah.
He just he's kind of like, I go, just swing at your pitch, but he don't even know what that is.
He doesn't know which one.
Exactly. He's getting indecision. You can see the indecision in him as he stands up there.
Yeah. So if you combine these three guys, okay, Trevor Story, big money, right? Casas, who's supposed to be big power hitting left-handed, and Devers. You combine those three guys, 3 for 51. That's 0.59 batting average with 28 strikeouts, no home runs, and 1 run batted in.
Man,
that's 5 games.
Wow, that's. It is terrible. I was so happy after the first game when I saw Abreu hit the first home run, and he came up and a chance to tie the game, put him up. He had 2 men on. I'm going, I'm going, Bochy, don't pitch to him. I wouldn't pitch to him, Bochy. He pitched to him and see what happened. And that was, I thought we were going to have a great year.
Yeah.
And now, all of a sudden, it's tragedy again, and it's sad. I know it's early and stuff, but
doesn't look good.
I'm telling you, and they blow this smoke up you all winter that they're going to be contenders, and these guys are going to help. These guys don't help. The guy he is a walking injury.
In 1975, you guys went on, of course, to have the most classic World Series of all time. But you started bad in April, 7-9. But that was a team you won 17 games. You were 17-9 for that 75 Red Sox team. You had Rick Wise. You had Rogelio Moret, who was like, 14-3. 14-3 for that guy. You talk about a flash in the pan. Boy, he just disappeared.
He was 48-11 his whole career. They did not use him properly. If he pitches game 2, he comes in relief of me after that rain delay, and now you have a rain delay. They're having trouble hitting me, and you bring in a flamethrower like Moret.
Yeah.
It'd be like bringing in Chapman right now.
That's right.
And we win when Fisk hits the home run at 12:34. That's the fourth win. We win the World Series.
And that would have been the end of the jinx right back then, 50 years ago, Spaceman. 50. Can you believe
50
that?
years ago,
You were
I'm
what,
telling
20?
You just can't get good management. I mean, Cora had the first year. He had the record for most wins by a Red Sox manager. And what has he done since?
Yeah. I got to ask you about these because you're a bat guy. You know, you made bats. You know all about the trees. You know which trees are the right trees to cut down for bats. You know how to make them. You know, what do? You put them on a lathe or something? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, first you dry them. You cut them. You hawk them into a round. You dry them. You dry them down to the percentage, and then you put them on the lathe, and the computer does it out. And now they took a suppository and made a bat out of it.
Torpedo bats, and you know what? If those torpedo bats worked for constipation, I'd buy myself a few.
I'm telling you, I tell you, they sold a shitload of them in San Francisco.
Now, what do you think of them, though? I mean, they put the meat of the bat a little what?
Great design thought. You know, the tip doesn't. It has less resistance, so you got better club head speed. And the area where you hit the ball is lowers the center of gravity, and you can make it 2 3/4 inches. That's your maximum diameter for any part of the bat, you know. And then you design it down and put a nice handle on it, so it's hammy friendly, and it's a little lighter, it's a little quicker, and of course, you got Milwaukee, which is horseshit pitching, doesn't hurt either.
That helps a little, right? It's like way back John Wasden. Remember way back Wasden? Way back. Every time he was pitching, that's all you heard from Trupiano. Way back. And you once told me the longest home run you ever gave up. You must remember it.
I gave up one to Richie Allen in Comiskey Park. That was a good one.
Was that 450?
Yeah, dead center field makeup game, and I had a 1-run lead or 2-run lead in the ninth, and I had the leadoff hitter on. They wanted to take me out. I got Bucky Brandon. That wasn't Bucky Brandon. I forget Bucky someone, and he hit into a double play, and then Richie Allen came up, and he had a changeup off me, went by my left ear. I heard it, and then it just rose like a pheasant shot in the ass. Ended up
Which I'm sure I've ever seen that, but I'm just trying to imagine it. Right in the ass, huh?
You hit a pheasant right in the ass when he's going up. He just kind of elevates because his ass drops, keeps going, and then he ends up dying about 10 more feet up in the air.
I'm not sure I've even seen a pheasant. I've tripped over a couple of peasants, but that's about the closest.
No. Oh, I killed more pheasants and. You know, I killed more. If it flies, it dies. That was my logo.
That's very nice. I think who's the Cruelty to Animals Society? They want to talk to you, man.
Yeah, well, no. I eat roadkill. You know, I picked up these 2 partridge that were on the side of the road in my Volkswagen bus, and the rest of the teammates saw me, and I gutted them out, skinned them down, and took the breast, wrapped them in tin foil with a little onions, a little white wine, and some shallots, and I cooked them for about 150 miles, and I had a great lunch.
Well, you and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. should get together, man. You know how to
no.
You know how to stay healthy.
Skip the generation, yeah.
Oh well, listen, man.
You want some Bill Lee trivia before we go?
I'll have a little trivia from Bill. I think I can answer this. Bill certainly can.
1979, Bill's first year with the Montreal Expos. How many Hall of Famers did Bill go up against? Start against? Was the opposing pitcher a Hall of Famer?
How would we be able to count?
Oh
that?
my God!
I have it right here.
You're right.
Go ahead.
I mean, I beat like 15 Hall of Famers in my career.
You were 3-1 against Hall of Famers this year.
In 79.
Wow.
In 79.
In 79, I was.
And who were they?
Gaylord Perry.
Yeah.
Gaylord Perry. Jim Cott? No. Cott was with me. He was in the American League back then. Chicago White Sox.
It's Gaylord Perry. Tom Seaver.
Tom Seaver. I beat Seaver, my own roommate.
No, you lost to Seaver. You beat the other 3. Don Sutton and Phil Necro.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I beat Sutton. I got a base hit, drove in 2 runs against Sutton.
Nuxie.
I remember that game.
You know, you got to give Gaylord Perry more credit. I mean, he pitched for like 9 different teams, and he won 300 games. But going through the major leagues and being a Hall of Famer named Gaylord had to be tough, right?
Well, I beat him in San Diego by bunting on him. And he got really mad at me because he had to take his fat ass and go get the ball. You know, and I beat it out and stuff. I remember beating Gaylord, too.
You know that?
Yeah, I beat Ryan. I beat Nolan Ryan, I think, 3 times in my career.
Wow. Unlike Robin Ventura, who never beat him.
No, you just don't stick your head in the vice.
Well, so do you have any idea what the celebration date is for the Fenway thing for all you guys reunion there, 50th year?
Yeah, we're gonna. It's the 4th. It's the 3rd. We're having the dinner. The 4th, we're doing it, and the 5th, I'm heading to British Columbia. You know, with my wife with a green card because I can't. You know, you just don't know. They're kicking everybody out of this country now.
They can't kick Diana out. I'll go up there. I'll go up there with the Mounties.
They tried to do it a long time ago during 9/11. I remember that. She got kicked out at the border, had to go back to Abbotsford and fly. And I was on my way to actually near your hometown, Manchester, New Hampshire, or Connecticut.
Yeah. So and she's from Calgary, so she doesn't.
She's from Calgary. Yeah.
Well, you give her a big hug for us, and you take care of yourself too, Mr. Spaceman. So the 4th is the Fenway reunion, and that's just in 3 days from now.
You know what? And
Nope.
I'll get ready. Hey, you guys take care. I love you.
Okay, Bill. Thank you, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Be a spaceman. That's what I want to be.
Be a spaceman. So that's good. I love talking baseball. Have you noticed?
No.
I absolutely love talking baseball. But you know what else I like talking about?
Yeah.
Gunsmoke.
Yeah, you do.
I love Gunsmoke. Do you know how let's see if Smitty can pass this test, Bill. Ben.
Me? Oh, God. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm terrible at these.
I'm going to ask you the name of the character on Gunsmoke, and you're going to tell me, are they dead? And if they are, when did they die? Or no, in other words, how old were they when they died?
All right, go ahead.
All right. Well, we'll start with Matt Dillon. It's just James Arness.
Yep. All right, I'm going to say he's still alive.
No, dead.
Okay.
He died in 2011. He died 14 years ago. And by the way, he was 88.
And his brother, what's his famous brother?
Peter Graves.
Peter Graves.
From the airplane movie.
Yep.
Now, speaking of Matt Dillon, how many, you've watched Gunsmoke a million times.
Sure.
How many people in the 20-year run of Gunsmoke were killed by Matt Dillon?
Did you Google this?
I got all the information right here.
You know, I don't know how many, but I'll bet it was every single episode.
No.
No, really?
No. 407 people killed by Matt Dillon. Now, you think about it. If someone killed 407 people in today's society, you know, they'd be called a whole different thing than Mr. Dillon.
That's correct.
He was also... okay, you're right. Sorry.
How many times was Matt Dillon himself shot in the 20 years?
In the 20 years, I would say he was shot at least 10 times.
56 times. He's like Swiss cheese. He took off his shirt and go, look at all them holes. Man, you give me. So he was tough.
You could tell I'm a big Gunsmoke fan.
He was also knocked unconscious 29 times and stabbed 3 times and poisoned once, in addition to the 56 shootings. Anyway, back to the cast now.
Go ahead.
Are they dead? Chester, is he dead?
No. Yes.
Yes, he died in 2006, 81 years old.
Wow.
Festus.
That's the guy. I got him confused with Chester. I think Festus is still alive.
No, he's long dead.
Son of a bitch.
Died in 91. He's been dead for 34 years, and you say he's still alive.
He lives forever on TV.
By the way, he was 74 then. He would be 108 if he had survived.
I'm just going to go with you should go dead on all of them.
All right, well, let's keep going.
They were old 70 years ago when they were on air.
All right, Kitty. By the way, she was the first to go. She's dead. Which is too bad because I had a really good dream about her 3 weeks ago.
You did?
No.
Kitty?
Are you kidding
That
me?
was Miss Kitty to you there, bud.
She died at the age of 60. She smoked a lot, and she died in 1989.
Wow.
How about Doc? The grizzled old. Man,
He's got to be gone. He's dead.
Yeah, he died in 1980. He was 75 at the time. So there you go. Now you know everything new that I knew about the Gunsmoke situation.
So it says here he was also shot at least 56 times, which you got on there. Knocked unconscious 29 times.
I just said that.
No, did you say
didn't
all that
even
part?
listen?
Stabbed 3 parts? No, I was looking up other trivia for you.
Smitty, what's that? He's got ADD, right?
Huh?
What?
He's got so much ADD, it's ADDDD.
When are we going to get Bill Lee on the line?
Somebody said that smoking marijuana can affect your short-term memory, but can you imagine what smoking marijuana would do?
I know.
Now, did you hear about Richard Gere?
Yeah, he's leaving.
He's leaving to go to Spain. I've
What do you
never
mean?
been to Spain, but I kind of like the music.
Yeah, well, he says he's had it at these Hollywood celebrities. Got to go
Yeah.
now. I can't live here any longer.
Right.
This is going to
You know
be
what?
terrible.
I found out what he's going to do. He's
Three Dog Night?
He's going to start a home for abused gerbils. Richard Gere is.
It's
When he's
smell
over there.
terrible in there.
They got a lot of gerbils over there.
I wonder how that rumor started.
Well, that's Officer and the Gentleman, that song. He's going to sing that to the gerbil. I'll stick you up where you belong.
Oh, man.
Speaking of old things, Bob Crane. This is fun too.
Yep.
We can do the same thing with
Bob Crane of Hogan's Heroes fame.
Is he alive or dead?
Didn't he?
I think he's dead.
He was murdered.
Yeah, it was like a famous
that-
murder.
I forgot about the murder.
Just
This
think of what smoking marijuana would do.
Was he beat to death with like his camera or something?
with his tripod?
His tripod.
Did Greg Kinnear kill him, or was he Greg Kinnear?
I think he was.
right.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it was his friend.
Yeah,
his friend
he
was a
was Greg
scumbag
Kinnear.
and killed him. And he killed him because they used to
that-
film each other with other chicks doing stuff. And it was sick and twisted, Hollywood style.
He's dead.
Yes.
How about John Banner? Colonel Hogan. No, that's Werner Klemperer.
Oh, no, he's got to be gone.
Schultz.
Yeah.
I see nothing. He died a long time ago. John Banner. He died at the age of 63. Robert Clary played LeBeau.
LeBeau.
Dead.
Just died 2 years ago at 96.
Wow, good
He was-
run.
Yeah, he did pretty well. Werner Klemperer. Colonel Hogan. He died at the age of 80. They're all dead. Larry Hovis. Remember him? He made the bombs and stuff
Dead.
like that? Dead.
Larry.
Blew up.
Richard Dawson from The Family Feud.
Dead.
Oh, yeah.
Dead.
He's dead.
Very dead.
Ivan Dixon, the black dude.
Dead.
Dead. See, I check these things.
didn't
Why?
crack.
Makes me feel good because guess what? I'm alive.
You sure about that?
Yeah, so far.
God, this might be heaven.
Are you sure we're not in purgatory right now?
Richard Gere's not dead. Oh my God, I've got so many notes. It's been a long time since we did a podcast. It's been over a month. That's the first time that's happened.
It's a great break.
What do you think? I'm clear thinking now. Have you noticed? Oh,
I have noticed
I
that.
get-
You noticed that, Ben?
Is
Is there a difference to the mic presentation?
Something I got now. I'm like I don't know. I think I'm thinking. Faster. And
Did you start doing heroin?
yes.
Are you saying you needed a break? Is that it?
Yeah, and I needed a break. You know why?
No.
Dental issue. Did I tell you about this?
Really?
I got to tell you about this. And you know what? Can I get sued for what I'm about to say?
Go ahead.
Probably.
And now a story about the dentist from Mike Adams.
So January, I get remember I had my face swelled up and I had a problem under one of my teeth, and it was like something was going on.
Yeah.
So they gave me antibiotics. So the swelling went down. Then they looked at it and they said, "Yeah, you have an issue of okay." But I'm going to Florida to see Billy. I don't want to go down there. So they give me another round of antibiotics. I go down and I see Billy February 3rd to the 6th. I come back February 10th to have the tooth tended to. They say you got to pull it out. They pull it out February 10th. I lose the tooth. They pull it out. It's called an extraction. I'm like, ugh. And it still hurts. It still hurts. After that for a week, I call him back. I say, this didn't stop hurting. You took the okay, here's another round of antibiotics. What? Another 3 in a row? I'm taking ibuprofen 5-6 times a day just to keep from being annoyed by it.
Oof.
Turns out they took out the wrong tooth.
No,
That's not good.
They didn't take out the tooth that was causing me the issue. They took out the number 19 tooth, which wasn't an issue.
So they removed number 19, and you now have to live the rest of your life
without that tooth.
Without that tooth.
Or I could go spend $6,000 and have an implant put in, which is maybe what they were thinking when they did this. Now, I don't want to mention the name of this now former dentist of mine, former dental practice, because I don't want to get sued. So I won't mention him by name.
That's good
but
thinking.
I can tell you.
Good thinking.
It rhymes with Plopkinton hair mental. Anyway, they took out the wrong tooth. They know it. I know it. Now I got to tell my new dentist this is what happened. The last people I had didn't do the right thing. So now, okay, it's now what, April 1st?
Yep.
Since the end of January, I've had the agonizing tooth pain, annoying.
And there's nothing like tooth pain.
And now I'm missing a tooth, which wasn't the problem. And I called up a lawyer. I said, well, all these people that advertise that they do malpractice, dental malpractice, all this, they don't. They're lying. They're bullshitting. They don't do dental. In Massachusetts, it's so difficult to have a dental malpractice lawsuit because you have to get the doctors and medical opinions involved, and you got to go through this whole 3-month litigation. And it costs you thousands to bring the case. So I just got to say, okay, I'm missing a tooth. It's as if someone walked up to me and punched me in the mouth and knocked out a tooth, and then they ran away, and I don't know who they are. Same thing.
That was an extraction, though.
Now, if you could have as many erections as you have extractions, you could be toothless but still happy. Or as Dick Raditz once said, at my age, never waste a hard-on and never trust a fart. All right, so we covered Richard Gere. Have you guys been watching any TV? I mean, I haven't seen you guys.
No.
Somebody, buddies like are so happy to see me because he was biscuit cravings.
I've been watching White Lotus. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen it.
You know what?
I know about it, but I haven't seen it.
There's something about that show. I've seen this. I think season 3 this is right now. I'm not sure. But each one of them has unique music, outstanding photography, and cinematography. It's beautiful.
On what channel is this?
I think it's HBO. I'm not sure now. It might be on Amazon.
It's called Max.
Oh, I don't have HBO.
Max, that's correct.
I have BO.
But it's
we know.
It's great. It's well thought out, well written, extremely well acted, and well cast. You'll like it.
But who are you to say it's well done?
The stories are not boring at all.
Have you ever made a movie?
Yeah,
I have.
Yeah, I did.
I did.
You really?
Yeah. You can look it up on IMDb.
Oh, that one you got arrested for?
No, they don't know about that one.
Whatever happened to that girl anyway?
That's the porn version of IMDb. You can look it up there.
IMDb, I never say that because then people think I'm a douchebag.
Well,
IMDb.
To answer your question, I've been watching Zero Day with Robert De Niro, who looks like Henry Kissinger now. His face is melting off his head.
Henry Kissinger.
Doesn't sound like him, but he looks like him.
Richard, I want you to end this war.
You talking to me?
So I watch a lot of news, as you know, because I'm a news conscious guy. In fact, we got a podcast with John Featherston that we're going to be doing. We don't talk politics on this podcast anymore.
Thank God.
That's our new rule.
My God,
because the people who people get angry. They go out. If you have a Tesla, they're going to go put a swastika on it. If they know that they say support the avoidance of waste, fraud, and abuse. They hate you for that. That's and right. They put a swastika on your car, which is absolutely hate-filled. I've been watching news channels, and I got to tell you that I make a list because I always need to know what all these medicines are because right now Big Pharma has taken over.
Hold on. Is this news?
No.
Okay.
It's opinion.
It's medical news. Do you have a medical news sounder?
Yeah, hold on. And
hello.
Now, medical news with Mike Adams.
Hello, I'm Dr. Sphincter with some medical information that's important to your health. Now, these are a list of drugs that I wrote down. I watched for like an hour, and I saw all these commercials. You tell me if you know what these drugs are for. Senecot.
Oh, now describe the scenario. What are you watching when they advertise this product?
The news.
No, and I mean, what is the story they're trying to tell in the ad?
I mean, this is for you to guess what these products do. First,
what's it called?
Senecot.
Senecot?
Yeah, Senecot.
Oh, I know what that is. That's a very natural laxative.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
One of the side effects, does it affect the perineum?
It's most of these do.
Yeah.
And if not, you have the option of just scratching your ass a lot and annoying your own perineum. What if you only have one neum? Bimzelix. I don't even know it. I wrote it down.
I think that's like a fingernail fungus.
No. You're thinking of OptiNail.
Oh.
Which is on the list. Cerevital. Dexcom G7.
What?
I don't know. Can you guys? I didn't write down what these are.
A missile program.
Cosentix. They always put a little Y and an X in there that, like Mr. Mixyez Pitalik in the Superman comics.
3 syllables.
Right.
Certain types of
Makes
medication.
it sound much more
they
effective.
They do actually mean something.
Yeah.
I forget. I was told this many times, and it all means something. It's stupid, but
they make them 3 syllables to sound, medicinal and scientific. They don't call them like booger. How about Cabanuva?
Cabanuva, that's the stuff you get for a sore throat.
No, is it?
I don't know.
See, Ben, you're supposed to be Googling every single one of these.
I can't spell them.
Ukora. Oh, here's Sublocade. It's an opioid. They're giving it to people who have an opioid addiction, and Sublocade is an opioid.
I wish opium would come back.
But the smoking kind.
Yes.
Yes.
The fun. So you get those cool. Yeah.
Did you ever try that stuff?
Maybe.
Oh.
What? Opium?
Yeah. Well, I was in the Navy.
I smoked opiated hash.
Oh, friends of mine came in with a cigarette that had been laced with white opium. That's what they told us anyway.
Yeah.
You take one hit off that thing and you got to lay down. It's
it's a lot. These days I have to lay down anyway.
I avoid that stuff.
Now, because we said this is going to be that last was going to be our last podcast. That was a lie. Maybe we go to once a month, or maybe once every 2 weeks, or maybe just when I fucking feel like doing it.
So you mean this is not the end?
No, it was an April Fool's joke, and now that's why the whole thing was a joke.
Yeah, you did it wrong. You aren't supposed to pay it off on April Fools.
I know, and I thought about that later because I had so many calls from people. Where's the podcast? All these people. I didn't even know that anyone cared anymore. But on this podcast, we've had some pretty good guests over the 301 episodes. Did we do? I think so. And here's just a quick. I'm going to speed up my voice for this. Okay, category. NFL, Smurless, Matt Chatham, Steve Nelson. MLB, Bill Lee, Lomborg, Fred Lynn, Marty Barrett, Dwight Evans, Rico Petroselli. Radio people, Jerry Thornton, Glenn Ordway, Dino, Mistress Carrie with her purple hair, Mike Shue, Jeff Cooner, Pete Shepard, VB, Joey Reynolds, Howie Carr, Mark Linehan, and Lyndon Byers. Comedians, Dave Russo, Greg Murphy, Jimmy Dunn, Christine Hurley, Lenny Clark, Tony V, Joe Yannetti, and Will Noonan. I forgot a lot of this stuff. Writers, Chad Finn, Lee Montville, Sean McAdam, Lenny Meggs was here, Michelle McPhee, Bill Burt, Chris Price. From the movie industry, Chris Meyer, John Fiore, Mike O'Malley, and from the world of music, John Finn, James Montgomery, and does Jerry Mathers count because he had a hit record?
Oh, you mean Jerry Mathers, the Beaver?
Remember the Beaver? Makes me sad just thinking about it.
I know.
78 years old. Tony Dowse dead, Barbara Billingsley dead, and Hugh Beaumont.
No, it was a good interview, that guy. He's a nice guy.
We should just call this podcast, Are They Dead? That should be the new name of the podcast. So we've had a lot of good guests, and you guys have been stellar in your performances.
Thanks.
And by the way, handsomely rewarded for that.
That's correct.
The good news is that you people don't have to be jealous out there. Nobody got rich doing this podcast. And it's not over. We're going to have some fun here. But I thought maybe we should make a change. We should have Joe and Jerry.
Yeah.
Not sing. Because it's, honestly, over the 250 songs they've done on this show, it's kind of embarrassing for them.
Well,
because they don't sing that well.
But they've done great work.
Well,
memorable work, legendary stuff.
But the spoken word is their strong point.
Okay.
So maybe we should have them. Let's have them do a comparison of what they were thinking in, say, 1978 compared to what they're thinking now as aged warriors. Okay, what do you think?
Take it away, Mike.
Well, back in 1978, I was thinking about long hair.
Now I'm longing for hair, Joe.
In 78, I was thinking about 8 tracks.
No, I'm thinking about cataracts.
How about kegs? K-E-G.
How about an EKG, Joe?
I was thinking about streaking back in 78.
And I'm thinking about leaking right now.
How about acid rock?
How about acid reflux?
Seeds and stems.
Fiber.
Staying alive, the song.
Staying alive, the goal.
Hoping for a BMW.
Hoping for a BM.
Going to a new and hip joint.
Getting a new hip joint.
Rolling Stones.
Kidney stones.
Disco.
Costco.
Whatever.
Depends.
Rock and roll all night.
Sleeping through the night without pissing myself.
Thinking you know everything.
Thinking you know your name.